All right, after 2 busy days in Odisha, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has embarked on a 2-day visit to Gujarat. The Prime Minister has landed in Surat, where the BJP unit has planned a host of events to welcome him. These are the visuals coming in from Surat. An 11-kilometre roadshow is, as of now, as we speak, is taking place in the Patel stronghold, which was the epicentre of the agitation against the Gujarat government by the Patidar community. That's the Prime Minister waving to the crowd in that specially modified SUV that he is travelling in. What's noteworthy is that the rally will be led by a group of bikers called Biking Queen. A team of 40,000 young male and female bikers are accompanying the Prime Minister from the airport to the circuit house. 5,000 women, including 1,250 Muslim women, have gathered for this massive show of strength by the BJP. All right, let me now introduce on the broadcast Sudhanshu Mittal, senior leader of the BJP. Also joining us, consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai. We are expected to join by Kalikesh Narayan Singh Deo of the BJD as well. Let's just shift focus from this, and let me first come to you, Rajdeep, for the opening remarks on this about the Prime Minister's and the BJP's Odisha push. This is after they won after 20 years. BJP has returned to Odisha for a national executive. They have been emboldened by the Panchayat poll success. How do you see this? Is this the beginning of some sort of a caution for Naveen Patnaik, the BJP going with a lot of vigor all across the country and now focus is on Odisha?
I think, Ankit, it's very clear that what you're seeing can be described as, I think you are, as a look east policy. I think the BJP is looking at 2019 as well as in the assembly elections in Gujarat that will take place later this year. But 2019, Odisha has both assembly and Lok Sabha polls. And the BJP is well aware that its Mission 272 in 2014 largely focused on the west, central and northern parts of India, about 300 odd Lok Sabha seats, and they had a strike rate of more than 80%, and that is what enabled them to score this remarkable victory in 2014. Now, in many of those states, the BJP, Ankit, has reached saturation point. How do you increase your tally, for example, in a state like Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh, where you swept virtually every seat in those states? So you have to look for new states, and one of those new states they are clearly eyeing is Odisha, and this has been building for a while. The very fact that they held the national executive in Bhubaneswar was to send out a signal of sorts. Troubling, of course, is that we've also had a bit of communal violence last week in Bhadrak. And many are trying to draw a linkage between Bhadrak and Bhubaneswar. But be that as it may, the fact is that Naveen Patnaik, in power for almost 2 decades, is seen by the BJP as someone who's vulnerable now. His party, they believe, is weakening. It doesn't have the same organizational strength that it had about a decade ago. Mr. Patnaik is slowly losing some of his key lieutenants. And the BJP actually believes that Odisha, with about 20 Lok Sabha seats, is a future growth area. So that's clearly they're working to a plan. The very fact that they held this national executive in Odisha was to build some kind of a face-off between Mr. Modi and Naveen Patnaik. Odisha, Bengal, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, these are all potential growth areas, northeast. That's where the BJP hopes to make up for any losses it may suffer in central and north India.
All right, let me take that to Sudhanshu Mittal, and we are also being joined by Kalikesh Singh Deo on the debate now. Sudhanshu Mittal, before I get a reaction from Kalikesh, what Rajdeep was saying, just taking that point forward, possibly you do understand that in the northern belt where the BJP traditionally has done well, you have reached this saturation. By turning to states like Odisha, BJP is starting, apart from Congress Mukt Bharat, regional parties Mukt Bharat mission. Is it?
You see, between Odisha and West Bengal, there are 63 seats. And currently we just have 2 MPs from there. So naturally, BJP, looking at the mood of the nation, where there is such widespread acceptability and admiration for the current Prime Minister and BJP, naturally we are looking at newer pastures, and Odisha and West Bengal are certainly on the priority list. We are emboldened by the results which have come up in the Panchayat elections in Odisha and the just concluded by-election in West Bengal, where vote share rose to 34%. So both these states are ripe. They are willing to go for a change. Odisha has seen a fatigue factor, 20 years. You see, by the time 2019 comes, it will be 20 years of Mr. Patnaik's rule. There is complete fatigue, and people are in fact disillusioned, because when they look back, they say, in comparison to the other states, where are we? Where we are, where we started from. So it is for this yearning of change that they are looking towards BJP, and I'm sure we will do extremely well in Odisha as well as West Bengal. There is certainly a focus on Odisha. Dharmendra Pradhan, the energetic petroleum minister, who has done wonders in this Ujjwala scheme, where every woman, every household has been given a chula, which was his initiative. It has gone down well, and he is seen to be a very promising leader in the eyes of the people of Odisha.
Kalikesh, if I can come to you, there was a time that Naveen Patnaik's father and the founder of the BJD, Biju Patnaik, described the BJP in Odisha as a signboard party. Now, in the last 2 days, we have seen only signatures, only signs, only cutouts of the Prime Minister all across Bhubaneswar. They have moved from the signboard party to possibly being your main challenger in 2019.
Well, there is some truth in that, to the extent that the BJP has replaced the Congress, which was the traditional opposition to the BJD. In fact, it is this replacement where the Congress has got decimated that a large part of Congress votes have shifted to BJP, and they won some seats in the recently concluded Panchayat polls. But let me point out to Mr. Mittal and the audience that BJD still continues to remain the largest party in Odisha, even in the Panchayat polls, by far. For 490 seats won by BJD, the BJP won only 280 seats. And this is not counting the blocks, but almost 90% of the blocks have gone to the BJD candidates or BJD supported candidates. Now, it's a democracy. Every party has a right to try and campaign and win votes. And of course, we've had 20 years of rule of Naveen Patnaik's government, and there will be some anti-incumbency. I'm not denying that. It's also a honeymoon period for BJP, which has swept to power in 2014 after a very weak and corrupt 10 years of misrule by the Congress. So we're not denying all of that. But by far, the BJD remains the tallest party in Odisha, and Naveen Patnaik remains the tallest leader in Odisha. And I am confident in 2019 that the BJD, under the leadership of Naveen Patnaik, will come back into power in 2019.
Rajdeep, these are the visuals that we are playing on the screen is of what is happening in Surat right now. A similar roadshow was done by the Prime Minister yesterday in Bhubaneswar. Every event that the Prime Minister's name is attached to is turned into a well-crafted political event to send out a message. It seems that the BJP and the Prime Minister is always in that election campaign mode. It almost seems that the Congress and the other opposition parties are a little too late to react to how the Prime Minister is taking this entire election process.
A remarkable boundless energy, you can't deny it. You know, particularly Sundays. This is a Prime Minister who seems to reserve Sundays in particular for roadshows. He is in the PMO and meeting foreign dignitaries and doing all the business of being a Prime Minister Monday to Friday. And come Sunday, he's there in front of you at a television screen near you doing a roadshow. And Surat is significant, Ankit, because remember, what was it, 6-9 months ago when Amit Shah was greeted with chairs being thrown at him? And a net had to be put between Mr. Shah and the spectators. This was at when the Patel agitation was once again resurfacing. And the BJP feared at one stage that this Patel agitation could be a threat to its prospects of getting elected once again in Gujarat, a state that they've held since 1995. Now, going to Surat, large crowds, clearly the Prime Minister is sending out a message that he is still Gujarat's Neta number one. Forget about India. He's also not just India's Neta number one, but importantly going back to his Janma Bhumi and Karma Bhumi and using Surat as the place in a sense to launch the BJP's Gujarat campaign. It's about 7 months to go to Gujarat, but look at the forward planning. I don't think any corporate CEO or any television newsroom does the kind of forward planning that the Prime Minister and his team do. They're already planning for Bhubaneswar and Odisha 2019, April, May, and they are planning on the screen in front of you for Gujarat, November, December this year. Building that momentum to suggest that the BJP is still party number one. This at a time when the opposition remains very fractured in most of these states. And yes, Naveen Patnaik, as Kalikesh says, is a strong rival. But remember, he's not getting younger. And the Congress has yet to throw up a strong leadership challenge in Gujarat. So sending that message from Surat that we are ready for Gujarat, that even if Mr. Modi is Prime Minister, he still remains someone who is much loved in his home state.
Sudhanshu Mittal, if I can come to you and I can just take you back to Odisha for a moment where, of course, as you said, that it is one of the main focus state as far as the BJP is concerned. When the Prime Minister, when he came, there was a lot of criticism about whether he would be able to take coalition partners along. BJD has been traditionally seen, at least for in the national context, although in 2009 they did not come along as far as the NDA is concerned, as somebody who possibly BJP can align with. Is this the end or of the era where the Prime Minister wants to go into a coalition sort of a politics? Is it now, BJP under the Prime Minister all across, single-handedly going across to every state?
See, today the priority of BJP is to expand itself where people are wanting a change. And we are the natural alternative. See, the Prime Minister did 3 things which have really touched the chord of people. One was the Ujjwala scheme, the other was Jan Dhan Yojana, and third is demonetization. The 3 things together have convinced the people that there is a pro-poor approach to the entire polity. It's a polity of mission, it's a polity of passion, it's not profession. That is the reason why there is so much of energy, there's so much of commitment, there's so much of, addressing the people and taking them along. And BJP in Odisha, let me tell you, BJD, its origin has a lot to do with BJP, because I personally was very involved in the creation of BJD. Now, we know BJD in its strength and we know BJD in its weaknesses. It is still, unfortunately, a party with a single leader and nothing beyond. And it is this fatigue of the last 20 years that people are now looking for a change. And in the Prime Minister, they see a hope factor. In local leadership of BJP, they certainly see an alternative factor.
Kalikesh,
so two things together.
With Naveen Patnaik, with Naveen Patnaik, more and more people are seeing that he is not seen in public. There are murmurs of some sort of dissent or differences within the BJD. Have you given this sort of an opportunity to the BJP to strike you at your weakest? And what is the plan going forward now when you see this sort of an energy from the Prime Minister, who's there in public against a leader who possibly for the last few years has not been seen so much in public with the people of Odisha, possibly the state he's ruling right now?
Well, that's not entirely true, because just last year, Naveen Patnaik must have had about 100 meetings across the state, and he continues to do so. He has dispelled any rumor about his alleged ill health, and even the so-called murmurs of dissent that you talk about were really airing or venting out of views by members of our own party. And we are a party which allows that. We allow people to air out their views, we allow people to give their opinions, and we try and arrive at a consensus. That is the difference between the BJD and other parties which are run pretty much on a single leadership, where the writ and dictate of the leader runs over each and every person's desire. Having said that, yes, the BJP is a new party in the center. Mr. Modi certainly enjoys a lot of credibility in large parts of India, at least in perception. But let me be very clear. As far as the Jan Dhan account and the demonetization account, the actual impact of these on the poor are really, there's a big question on that. Let's be clear that over 25 crore Jan Dhan accounts, many of which have 1 rupee or less than that, or even zero balance accounts. So it really hasn't impacted the poor at all. And even demonetization, though it enjoys a popular political perception amongst the poor, the impact of it on black money, the impact of it on taxation, and the actual impact of it on growth and economy, which is yet to come, is still a question mark.
Kalikesh, so let me begin with this question to you, and then I will take it to Rajdeep and Sudhanshu Mittal. Rajdeep just mentioned about this violence that took place, the sort of tension in Bhadrak just a few days before this national executive meeting of the BJP was to be held in Bhubaneswar. How does the state government see this? Do you see it as a larger conspiracy, or do you see, it's some sort of a political gain being, going towards the BJP after this?
Well, let me remind you, in 2008 there were similar communal riots in Kandhamal, where Christian community, tribal scheduled castes were attacked by some Hindutva and right-wing Hindu leadership there. And that was the reason why the BJD broke up with the BJP. Because Odisha is a state which is peaceful and harmonious. And what we do not want is anybody using Odisha or parts of it as an experiment in communal conflict and polarization. I think that will be detrimental to the state of Odisha, to the people of Odisha, and the politics of Odisha.
I'll come back to you, Kalikesh, but Sudhanshu Mittal, when you hear these comments being made against the BJP, when Kalikesh says that that's the reason why they broke up with the BJP in 2009, there are people, those who possibly would say that this is a short experiment that BJP has utilized in Uttar Pradesh. First the communal tension, then comes the healing touch by the Prime Minister. He talks about the Muslim outreach, he talks about development, but this is how you try and gain and build up towards elections.
I think the entire narrative of secularism and communalism has been lock, stock and barrel rejected by the people of this country. Communalism is only talked in terms of the appeasement of minority votes, and it is this attempt to appease that people have now squarely rejected. So this entire theory of surcharge, communal environment, and then it benefiting BJP is a humbug theory, and the people of this country do not believe in it anymore. In the name of secularism, everybody has practiced pseudo-secularism. Communal, basically vote bank politics, communal politics. Our motto is very simple. We say justice for all, appeasement to none. And I would like to challenge anybody. Give me one act of the central government which you can say had a communal overtone. There was a discrimination against anybody. Be it in favor of the majority or be it in favor of the minority. I mean, it is a government.
Let me get Rajdeep Sardesai at this point. Let me just get Rajdeep Sardesai at this point. Rajdeep, so as I was asking, many have been saying that it's a tried and tested formula. Sudhanshu Mittal is saying, give us one example of the government trying to appease one or working against anybody. But it seems that the so-called fringe with the BJP very conveniently distances itself when questioned is a sort of, part of their election process narrative.
Look, there are various narratives the BJP plays. The fact is, and Sudhanshu Mittal did not squarely answer the question, why is it that only a week before Bhubaneswar National Executive we have communal violence in Bhadrak? The fact is that this is one of the narratives. There is a polarization that is going on. But there are other narratives as well. There is the development narrative. There is the narrative of a strong muscular leadership that Narendra Modi represents. There are other narratives, the pro-poor image that he is now projecting for himself, particularly in a state like Odisha. The fact that he says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is a narrative also that he pushes. There are parallel narratives running. And it depends on which, what your ideological beliefs are. You embrace the narrative that the Prime Minister is pushing. The question is, and this is what Kalikesh will have to face, as will the BJD, as other parties have had to, how do you counter it? So far the counter has been, Naveen Patnaik is a leader of Odisha, he's a regional leader with a strong regional party. But the fact is, he has been in power over 20 years. There may be a fatigue factor setting in. Remember, how did Mamata eventually emerge in Bengal? a fatigue factor eventually even set in with the left. Where is the left today? They are number 3 in the recent by-poll in Bengal. Similarly in Odisha, if Naveen Patnaik or Kalikesh Singhdeo is going to be complacent, then the BJP is going to rise. As those images are showing, look at the BJP in Gujarat. If I may look at those images once again, there, Ankit.
Yes.
The fact is the BJP built itself on the Ram Janmabhoomi movement in the late 80s, early 90s. There were communal riots that took place in Gujarat in that period. The BJP was the beneficiary of it. And then from 95, they slowly began to grow. We had the riots of 2002. And by 2007, Mr. Modi was giving the narrative of good governance. Today the BJP is a massive force in Gujarat, which it was not in 1980s. In 85, the Congress won 150 out of 182 seats of Gujarat, largely riding on the Kham and the reservation plan. The Congress disappeared within a decade because the BJP used Ram Janmabhoomi to create a Hindutva constituency. Maybe that will happen in Odisha. What we've seen in Gujarat, it may take longer in a state like Odisha because of the demographics of the state and the fact that the BJP has a limited base, but it's a growing force in Odisha as it is in Bengal today. No one can deny, Ankit, BJP is working to a plan and the opposition has no plan at the moment to counter it.
Well, let's just talk about more about this plan, whether the opposition has that plan. We'll get Kalikesh to answer that, and also Sudhanshu Mittal who wants to come in. Sudhanshu, I really need to slip into a short break as of now. I'll just come back to you. I'll give you a response to what Rajdeep and Kalikesh said, and then we'll move on how and are the political parties gearing up to deal with this Modi juggernaut who is already always in the election mode in various states. All right, these are the visuals that we are getting you live from Surat, where the Prime Minister's massive show of strength in the city that was the epicenter of the Patidar agitation against the state government was witnessed. In fact, the Prime Minister there, an 11-kilometre long roadshow, being supporters both sides of the road. This has become a synonymous thing as far as the Prime Minister is concerned. These massive roadshows that he usually is. Joining me on the broadcast, Rajdeep Desai, consulting editor, Kalikesh Singhdeo of the BJD still with us, and Sudhanshu Mittal also with us. Sudhanshu, before we went into the break, you wanted to make a point. Quickly go ahead, and then I'll go to Kalikesh.
Rajdeep, you were saying that BJP has benefited out of communally surcharged environments. I don't think history has it this way. See, after the 92 demolition of Babri Masjid, 93 Vidhan Sabha elections of UP, of Madhya Pradesh, of Himachal, we lost. 2002 Gujarat riots you mentioned. Do you realize 2004 Lok Sabha we lost? Where else everybody believed that we were going to win? No, it does not benefit us politically. What is critical is our agenda is what people have started believing. The agenda is that of development. The agenda is non-partisan politics. The agenda of justice for all, appeasement to none. So it's this credibility of the leadership as well as the party's ideology which has sunk into the people who have seen a corruption-free, a committed government which is pro-poor. And this consistency has what has led to the growth of BJP and not a communally surcharged environment. And as far as the riots in Odisha are concerned, please understand, it is their government. If anybody from BJP or its allies organizations were involved, they would have arrested them by now and discredited us. But if this is what happened, we have nothing to do with it and we do not benefit out of it. So let's dispel this notion once and for all.
Rajiv, you wanted to respond quickly.
No, my point is that these were parallel narratives. You are playing again the pictures of Gujarat. Look at the history of Gujarat. The BJP's rise in Gujarat began in the late 80s. Anti-reservation riots turned into communal riots. You had the Ram Janmabhoomi movement which began in Somnath. You had a section of the Janata Dal which merged with the Congress. The Congress got discredited, and that's important even in the Odisha context. both in Odisha and to a large extent in Gujarat, the BJP took a large chunk also away of the Congress vote. That's where today the BJP believes it has a chance in Odisha, because the Congress, which was the dominant party of Odisha, is collapsing. In Gujarat, in the late 80s and early 90s, the Congress began to shrink and the BJP began to grow. There are parallel narratives. I'm not saying it's only on communal politics, but communal politics, particularly in Gujarat, played a very major role. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad played a very major role in the rise of the BJP in Gujarat. The BJP till the late 80s was still a minor player. The Janata Dal and parties of Chimanbhai Patel's led Janata Dal was still the dominant player. The BJP had to support Chimanbhai in the late 80s. Let's not forget his history.
Let me just drag you back, and we also have Kalikesh here. Otherwise, it will just become a debate on these very topics. But Sudhanshu Mittal, you cannot deny the fact that it is also been seen repeatedly, this sort of a model where communal tension are then proceeded by the development pitch by the Prime Minister. Let me just quickly get Kalikesh in, and specifically on Odisha. Kalikesh, in the last almost 17 years of the rule of Naveen Patnaik, there are many parameters that possibly the government can go out and display as their achievements, but there are many parameters that the government has lacked as well. Be it industrialization, the kind of industrialization that was promised in 2004-2005 onwards has not been seen as fructifying on the ground, and also the kind of opposition that BJD is usually used to fighting with. The Congress, which is in disarray, the BJP is now taking on that opposition with Prime Minister, who comes with a massive pro-development image. His party as of now is on an upswing, and the BJP has a lot more presence. The Prime Minister's charisma will now be compared with that of Naveen Patnaik. How do you plan to counter that?
No, I agree with you, and I agree with Rajdeep. There is no place for complacency in politics, whether it's your first term or it's your fourth term. And I think the party is seized of the fact. It was a bit of an awakening for us when the BJP won some seats in the recently concluded Panchayat elections. We are shaping up our organization to address the issues which we believe have led to certain areas being weakened, especially those on the fringes of the borders of Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. But let's be very clear. I think the BJD and Naveen Patnaik still continue to remain the tallest party and tallest leader in the state. I don't think it's an absolute victory for the BJP as they expect to have it happen in 2019. I don't think that's really the case as they are projecting it. Secondly, I don't want to talk about other states, but in a state like Odisha, where the minority is really small, any attempt to try and polarize on the basis of religion or on the basis of majority versus minority is not going to yield the results, because the minority is so small, it's not really a threat to the majority. In fact, all religions live very harmoniously in a state like Odisha. So these kind of experiments will 100% fail if that is the basis of the election poll promise that the BJP enters into in 2019. If it's a question of development and jobs and growth, yes, we will question how many jobs the BJP has given rise to the last 3 years or in the last 5 years. What kind of growth has it actually resulted in?
Yes.
And when the euphoria, the honeymoon period of the central government dies down, I think the facts and figures will be a lot more clear, and then we can actually compare what's happened in 5 years in the current NDA regime and what's happened in the last 20 years in Naveen Patnaik.
Sudhanshu Mittal, the opposition has been saying that this win at any cost approach of the BJP, you try and gain people from the opposition parties. You have been doing the same in Odisha. There are Congress leaders, your leaders there in Odisha do agree. Sources tell us that you are already in talks with Congress leaders to get them on your side. Is it the new BJP winning, or it's the old Congress with the support of the BJP, or the old opposition where you're trying to poach people from the BJP, the Congress, and win the election at any cost? That's the agenda.
See, since we are the natural alternatives in these states now, then people tend to gravitate towards natural alternative. There are a lot of people in Congress who are disgruntled with the Congress leadership, and both at the state level as well as the national level, and they feel that it is with the BJP that they can go and serve the people of Odisha. So that's one aspect of it. But what is more critical? More critical is, look, BJP in itself has had 20 years and there is really nothing to show. Yes, he may be tall, but the height itself is not sufficient for people to be just satisfied with leadership.
Okay.
They need delivery on the ground. Kalikesh was saying that it's not such a big victory and it's not a victory. Kalikesh, just remember, it is not where I stand. It is the direction of my graph. The direction of graph of BJP's ascension is very, very steep. And that is where it's going to overtake you in 2019. For the simple reason, people look at us with a lot of hope, with a lot of faith in what we have done till now.
Right, Sudhanshu. And before I go to Rajdeep for a response, let me also bring in Akar Patel. He is a political analyst. He's joining us on the phone line. Akar Patel, you also come from Gujarat. I just wanted to take you quickly to what is happening in Surat there today. Massive road show, a show of strength by the Prime Minister. The entire city has been plastered with the cutouts of the Prime Minister, and very interestingly, when he came out, on both sides of the road there were women, Muslim women clad in burqa, those who were standing there in show of support. The Prime Minister also today spoke about triple talaq. How do you see this entire imagery that the Prime Minister is now trying to project?
He is extremely popular in the state. He has been particularly popular in the city. I am from Surat. My parents live there. The BJP hasn't lost Surat either in the Lok Sabha or the Vidhan Sabha or the corporations in the last 3 decades. So we must remember that this is a place that the Prime Minister specifically and the BJP in general is extremely popular. So far as the Muslim women go, we should also know that this is a place where Muslims have been bullied and massacred in a way that they haven't in large parts of the country. In 1992, when the Babri Masjid was brought down, 500 Muslims died. I had to leave that city in disgust. So they don't have an option. Gujarati Muslims and my parents, I'm from a Patidar background. For my parents, the options for voting in that city are between an RSS man, Shankar C. Waghela of the Congress, and another RSS man, the Chief Minister from the BJP. There is essentially a capture of Hindutva, and anybody who is liberal-minded, secular-minded in any way has no space in that city. We should not be surprised to see that Muslim women are lining up to support the Prime Minister. This is an exhibition of strength. I don't think it's an exhibition in any way of being broad-minded.
Okay, Akar, Rajdeep, if I can quickly come to you once and just take this forward before we go back to Kalikesh on Odisha. Do you see this as the Congress possibly just kept repeating that this is a show of desperation by the Prime Minister? They don't have a state leadership, and that's why they had to push in the Prime Minister too early. Is this desperation, or is this, as you keep calling, the hunger of the Prime Minister to win every state on his face? He takes it head on, and the Congress possibly, their senior leadership, not even in the planning mode?
Look, I use the word Dil Mange More. It's a word that the Prime Minister used in the 2014 campaign. And the BJP, Amit Shah, are hungry. Yesterday, Amit Shah, the National Executive, said that the BJP now covers 62% of India's land mass. We want to cover the entire country. Now, Gujarat has been their original laboratory. They want to strengthen themselves in Gujarat so that they can again get 150 plus, possibly mission 150 is what they are talking about, and beat the record that the Congress under Madhav Singh Solanki had set in the mid-80s. The BJP believes that Gujarat is its natural habitat. I don't think it is desperation as much as the Prime Minister kicking off the BJP's campaign. I said this is an element of forward planning. Yes, there was a time last year during the Patidar agitation where maybe a section of the BJP felt a little disoriented. But people are not going to vote for the BJP in this election based on whether Vijay Rupani is their chief minister. It's a vote for Narendra Modi. It's a vote for Hindutva politics. We've had all kinds of chief ministers of the BJP or BJP-led groups in Gujarat over the last 20 years. Not all of them have been as charismatic as Mr. Modi has, but the BJP has sustained itself because this is a Hindutva inclined state. Now the Congress is going to have to respond to that. The Congress has become a bit of a press release party. So you'll get a lot of press releases, a lot of spokespersons, a lot of articulate people. But who has the mass contact? When I asked this to a congressman, they said, no, Bharat Solanki is addressing meetings every day. Now, is Bharat Solanki capable of challenging the Modi charisma? Huge question mark on that. And I think unless they are able to offer a real credible challenger, someone who can perhaps, as Akar rightly put it, up to now, it's been Shankar Singh Waghela over the last 10 years, someone who's been an RSS man. Can an RSS man take on a Modi? Obviously not, or probably not. But a Bharat Singh Solanki, if he is projected as their leader, given the power to choose his own seats, if it is not declared in the High Command, if Congress's problem is they have not empowered their Gujarat leadership for 2 decades now.
Akar
so
Patel.
Emasculated leadership. Their last strong leader was Chiman Bhai Patel. That's ages ago.
Akar Patel, as Rajdeep was pointing out, they have not, the opposition, especially the Congress in Gujarat, has not been able to develop the kind of leadership that we possibly see as far as the BJP is concerned with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This, many would say, was a ripe opportunity for the opposition to capture. There was a lot of anti-incumbency. It's been 3 consecutive rules of the BJP there. There was the agitation of the Patidar community. If they do not win this time, or if they do not put up an impressive performance this time, where do you see the politics in Gujarat heading?
I don't know about 2 things. The first is whether Chiman Bhai was the last great Congress leader. He actually split the Congress, ran away from it and from the Janata Dal, as you know. The second bit is, I'm 47 years old. I'm a middle-aged man. Ever since I got my vote at the age of 18, the person representing Surat in the Lok Sabha has been a BJP MP. You're talking of a party that has very deep roots, that has deep roots in society, that has a polity and a representation that is phenomenal. I think we're talking about a party that is almost like the Congress used to be in the 50s. So for us to assume that there is something new or different here should be taken with a pinch of salt. I think the second bit is, what can the opposition offer? I think that to assume that the Patidar agitation is based on secular politics is wrong. Patidars want Hindutva, they also want reservations. The BJP cannot offer them reservations, nor can the Congress. The Constitution specifies that the Patidars cannot get reservations. There is no way that the Patidars are going to detach themselves from the BJP. I think it would be foolish on the part of the Congress to assume that a 21, 22-year-old man, based on a platform of reservations, is going to split a very large section of voters from the BJP. That's not going to happen. We have a very charismatic, very popular leader in Mr. Modi. The Patidars will stay with the BJP. I think the Surat rally reflects that you've got a man at the height of his powers demonstrating his popularity in his own state.
Akar Patel, thank you so much for joining us here on the broadcast. We are also being joined by Nalini Singh, political analyst. Nalini Singh, I would just quickly want your response on what you earlier saw in Bhubaneswar, where the Prime Minister went to the temple. There was a roadshow there as well. At the National Executive Meeting of the BJP, he spoke about triple talaq. He spoke about leaders being humble in victory. And now, from there, he comes to another state which is also going to the polls in 2017, and he does this massive rally. What does this say about the BJP and the Prime Minister?
Well, let's start with Surat, and I think that this is absolutely a remarkable spectacle, and also clearly the BJP is well entrenched here. Now, just thinking that during demonetization, it's the diamond cutters who suffered a lot, but you don't see any, an iota of resentment on that. And as people were saying earlier, that you have, Hardik Patel as a kind of challenger on behalf of the Patidars, but Hardik Patel has made some youthful errors in accepting to be chief ministerial candidate of the Aam Aadmi Party in Gujarat. Then, the other one is that he has met Mr. Nitish Kumar, which is not an error, which is maybe getting, but it doesn't doesn't look like a beacon of opposition. Excuse me, a beacon of opposition to this remarkable spectacle that you see of the Prime Minister riding an 11-kilometer roadshow. But you know, I think we need to also look at one thing in terms of what it means for the country. Life is as spectacle, or spectacle as life. So all the people who are watching politics will have to ponder, is politics now about spectacle, about about people rallying the way they are doing just now, or is there something deeper? This is not to take away from the popularity of Mr. Modi and of the fact that he is connected in such an remarkable way with his voters. And but one should really pause and say, so spectacle is life, or is life not spectacle? So this is going to go down quite a lot, I think, in people's minds. But however,
all right, Ashok Malik is also on the phone line with us. Ashok Malik, lot of talk about how the Prime Minister, and Nandli was also saying about how the politics has been converted into an ongoing series of spectacles, not taking away the popularity of the Prime Minister, but when the opposition says that the Prime Minister is always in the campaign mode, is that a criticism or possibly a compliment for the BJP?
Well, you know, it is the point is, when a party is on an upswing and is capturing new and new political constituencies and states, and its leader is at the peak of his popularity, the party will obviously seek to use the leader's name and fame for political benefit. I mean, that goes without saying. That's what happened in, say, 85 with Rajiv Gandhi and the Congress, for instance. So this is a comparable situation. This is Mr. Modi is at the peak of his political career. Maybe he'll even go higher. And he is in states where the BJP is gaining ground, such as Odisha recently, and of course in Gujarat, the BJP faces an election soon. So in that sense, yes, he does have one eye on upcoming elections and on the BJP's political fortunes, and he also has one eye on governance. There's nothing wrong with that, because a Prime Minister has to win votes in the end to be able to govern. So you need both.
Okay, Ashok, I just request you to stay on with me. I'm just going to Kalikesh for a quick reaction. And before I do that, just look at these visuals of this 11-kilometer roadshow. Sometimes I also feel sorry for these SPG security guards, those who are continuously running with the Prime Minister's cavalcade. Kalikesh, you know, in 2019, when elections take place in Odisha, 2019, when the country also goes to poll, now the whole talk about a massive Gathbandhan, the entire opposition coming together to beat the BJP. Will the BJD, as BJP possibly is trying to emerge as their contender as far as the state politics is concerned, will the BJD be open to a larger alliance to take on the BJP nationally?
Look, there is virtually no Congress vote bank left in the state as things stand now, especially if you look at the example of the Panchayat elections. And we, as a party, the BJD is very clear. It intends to remain equidistant from both the BJP and the Congress, and can consider any other sort of framework apart from that with BJP or Congress. And let's be clear, I think, in my opinion and also in the party's opinion, I think we are in a fairly good position even now to take on the BJP and take on Mr. Modi's onslaught in 2019, both in Parliament in the state of Odisha as well as in the state government and state legislative assembly elections. And I'd like to wish Mr. Sudhanshu Mittal the very best of luck, because I think he'll need it. It's been the recently concluded Panchayat elections is not something that you will base your results in 2019 on. I think that's going to be a whole different ball game. Yes, there are new challenges, but I can tell you, under Naveen Patnaik's leadership, we are ready to face those challenges and we will overcome those challenges.
All right, I have to slip into a very short break at this moment. I request all my guests to just stay on with me in this interesting debate that is going on. After this break, I'm just coming back to Rajdeep for a reaction. Then we'll go to Sudhanshu Mittal and also to our other guest on the show.